Welcome back to the garden, my herbal friends. March is a unique month because it requires us to look in two directions at once. We're checking on our woody perennials like sage and rosemary that have weathered the winter, while simultaneously preparing our tender indoor starts for the great outdoors. It's a delicate handoff between the seasons. Getting this transition right ensures your garden hits the ground running as the soil warms up. Today, we're going to walk through how to wake up your established herbs and safely introduce your new ones to the spring air. Before we dig into the scratch test and our hardening off schedules, I'd love for you to join our growing community here at the Herbal Keys. By hitting that subscribe button and liking this video, you help us share these research-backed gardening tips with more friends who value natural wellness. And by the way, we love hearing about your garden successes and challenges, so don't forget to say hello and share in the comments. Your support allows us to keep creating these guides for every season. Now, let's head over to the perennial beds to check on our old friends. It's easy to look at a brown, woody herb in March and think it didn't make it. But remember, dormancy is a brilliant survival strategy. During winter, our perennials pull their sugars and essential nutrients down into the root system to protect them from the frost. What looks dead on the outside is often just a protective shell for a very vibrant, resting heart. Understanding this biological rhythm helps us be more patient. Instead of pulling plants out too early, we wait for the sun to signal that it's time for those roots to push upward again. Before we start pruning or moving trays, let's talk about the gear. A clean pair of bypass pruners is your best friend this month. You'll also want a sturdy tray for transporting your seedlings back and forth, something with high sides to protect them from a sudden gust of wind. Having your supplies ready prevents unnecessary stress on both you and the plants. A quick check of your garden gloves for holes is also a good March habit. Proper preparation makes these spring chores a joy rather than a struggle. Let's get our tools and start our checkup. Let's check our established perennials like sage, rosemary, and thyme. They are hardy, but a long winter can take a toll. To see if your plants are still with us, try this scratch test. Gently scratch a small bit of bark off a lower stem with your fingernail. If you see green underneath, you're in business. If it's brown and brittle all the way through, that section may have winter kill. Don't panic. Often the roots are still perfectly healthy and just waiting for the spring equinox to send up fresh, green shoots. Once you've identified the living wood, it's time for a little March haircut. For herbs like sage, we want to prune back about a third of the growth, just above where you see new buds forming. This stimulates the plant to concentrate its energy and essential oils into fresh, medicinal-grade leaves. Avoid cutting into the very old, woody center where no leaves are growing, as some perennials struggle to recover from deep cuts. A thoughtful prune now prevents your herbs from becoming leggy and keeps them productive all summer long. Don't you dare throw those March prunings away. Even if the leaves look a bit weathered, they are still packed with aromatic compounds. These woody stems are perfect for a revitalizing spring steam. Simply simmer them in a pot of water on the stove to clear the air and refresh your home. You can also tuck them into a jar of white vinegar for a few weeks to create a natural, herbal-scented surface cleaner. It's a wonderful way to use those cuttings and scraps to honor the plant's winter journey, while making room for the vibrant new growth of spring. Now let's talk about those tender starts you've been growing on your windowsill. Moving a plant from a cozy 70-degree kitchen to a breezy March garden is a big shock. We need to harden them off through a slow introduction. Think of it like teaching your plants to slowly get a suntan. When they stay indoors, their leaves are thin and soft. By exposing them to the wind and sun, starting for just an hour a day, they begin to thicken their outer waxy layer, which protects them from the elements. This process ensures your seedlings get their best start outdoors. A successful transition usually takes about a week. On day 1, find a sheltered, shady spot out of the direct wind for just an hour. On day 2, give them 2 hours, and by day 4, let them have a little dappled afternoon sun. By the end of the week, your plants will be physically tougher and ready to stay out overnight, provided there's no frost in the forecast. This patience pays off with much higher survival rates and plants that don't stall their growth once they are finally tucked into the garden soil. Even with the best hardening off, March weather is famously unpredictable. Always keep a stack of emergency covers nearby. If a surprise frost is predicted, those new starts need a little help. Old milk jugs with the bottoms cut out make excellent individual hot houses, or a simple frost blanket draped over your perennials can save the new buds you just encouraged with your pruning. Being a resilient gardener means being an observant one. When we protect our plants through these final cold snaps, we're ensuring a much more bountiful harvest in the months ahead. Whether you're tending to a 10-year-old rosemary bush or a tray of tiny basil sprouts, March is the month where your attention to detail really shines. These small acts of care, the scratch tests, the careful pruning, and the slow introductions, create a foundation of health for the entire year. It's a beautiful time to re-establish your connection with the earth and your herbal allies. If you enjoyed today's video, consider sharing it with your gardening buddies. Remember to hit that like button before you go, and click subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Thank you for joining me in the garden today. I can't wait to see how your garden transitions this spring. Stay well and stay grounded, my friends.